This is our weekly update of the fencing project. And if you're asking yourself, why are they only showing us videos of this fence? Because this is the only thing we've been able to work on, except for Sam fixing the red tractor, for like the last month, because it takes pretty much every available moment of Sam's time. I guess he did technically drill the anchor bolts in the bird poo shop, so Ryan could use the tube bender. But aside from that, this is all consuming. So we're making progress though. That gap right there is going to be a gate. There's going to be a couple of gates right here in the front, but I only know for sure where one of them's going to be, so let me walk you up there and show you the rest of it. Okay, and here's the only other thing I know how to give you guys updates on, because it's the only other thing I'm really doing out here right now, is our beautiful little Poppy. She doesn't look super close to me, so I'm hoping things will start becoming more obvious in the next couple weeks. She definitely, I don't know, like I said, it's probably wishful thinking. She looks to me like she's got a little bit of a belly going on, and her underline is starting to fill out more. But if I had to make a prediction, I would say we're probably still a couple weeks away. So yeah, we'll just keep waiting and watching on that. So yeah, let me show you Sam's progress, because I am super excited. I think Buddy needs a hobby. I don't know what he's doing to this palette or why he chose to do this, but part of me thinks he's just bored, or I don't know, likes the taste of it potentially. I don't understand. I don't understand what they do, but that's okay. Sam kind of is annoyed by a lot of the things he does, but I think he's awful cute, so I'll just shrug and go on about my day. So, I think the last time I filmed, the top bar right here was just over this gap a little bit. So he's cut it, moved it over. So he has finished this side, all 3 rails, got the top rail up there and then around the corner, which is amazing. So the gap between the pole that the top rail's closest to and the one that's got the red stuff on it is going to be a gate. And then I couldn't see it from down below. It's funny how your perspective changes when you move. These 2 right here that are really close together, that's going to be the other gate. So really his top rail is almost done. He just has to go just that last little bit for this pipe right here, and then skip that and go between those 2, and then from there to the corner, and then of course the 2 more rails. But it has been so much cutting and grinding and welding and cold temperatures, dark. Yeah, he thinks he's gone through 18 gallons of gas in the generator now. But the other day he took a break from the welding the rails, cutting and grinding and welding the rails, and he started putting up the panels. So this one was already up there, but he has them all in, all the way down to the gate, and then that first panel past the gate, plus these 3 right here. And for some of them, the squares aren't matching the up and down post, which I absolutely don't care about at all, because it would require like cutting part of the panel and then shifting everything. And honestly, at this point, I don't care. We're not building a show fence. We're just building a fence that we're hoping will contain cattle inside of it. And I don't think the cows are going to care if the lines are perfectly perpendicular. I think perpendicular. So he did cut out a little piece somewhere over here that I can't even see now where he matched up. So there's 2 where like the end of one panel is and it meets the next panel. He cut this little chunk out so that he could put the 2 pieces together. Oh, I think it's right here. Yeah, so that should be a little stronger. But I mean, to me, it's just amazing. For him, it's probably no big deal. But just to take the time to cut that piece out, to make these match up like this, and just overlap them and do that, I think is just amazing. And he really likes this part because it's just kind of tack weld, so it's really fast as opposed to having to weld like all of this all around the whole entire top of whatever, and then the weld not really sticking or doing what it's supposed to. I mean, it sticks, but it's just not super pretty. So anyway, I am so excited. So he thinks it's possible that he might be able to get all of the pipe cut, grinded and welded on, and then just has to finish putting up the panels. So by the end of this week, so this weekend so by next weekend, a week from now, sorry. So he thinks a week from now, this part might be done. And well, depending on gates, but we still have to do the middle part where like the alley and the chute and things are gonna be, but he has to mess with the dirt over there and level it out to where the chute's going. And with the ground still sort of kind of being frozen and kind of muddy and not quite right to work the dirt, he doesn't want to do it and have it settle and not be great. So I think we talked about holding off on doing any of the interior stuff until maybe the spring or summer, when we can get the cows over onto the field past the little pivot, kind of the other side of the pond. He tried to fill in this little bit and it didn't do horrible, but like I said, I think he wants to be able to really make sure it's packed down and not gonna settle and all of that, and this just isn't quite the right time to do all that. And worst case, if we need to set up the chute and work the cows, we could set up the temporary panels that are over there, put the chute kind of over there in the garden area, and still get them in and out. Like they could just be in here as one big pen instead of the smaller pens that we eventually will plan on having in here. So I don't know what's gonna happen first, piglets or cows living in this pen. That's the question right now, is who gets here first. So I'm just so grateful that he has been out here doing all of this miserable, annoying, tedious work, even when I'm sure he'd rather be doing other things. But it's nice to see the progress, and I'm sure for him the progress is a lot slower than for me, where I just get to see it like once a week. But it's progress, and it's really, really close to being done. And that just means it's one step closer to actually having our cows here, where we get to see them and interact with them, and then I get to start trying to train Rosie the red cow and all of those things. So I'm sure that will be hilarious to watch because I know nothing about any of it. But if you have any words of advice or tips or tricks on how to halter train a cow, I would love to hear it. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, and that's all I really know for now. So thanks for watching.